Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card video. Today I've got a funny saying that I put together with the Sheep and Bee stamp sets that I've been using. I'm using the I from Layered Letters, the B from the Honey set, this leaf from Autumn Acorns by Ellen Hudson, and then this sheep by Jane's Doodles called Seamus Sheep. So I arranged my stamps in my MISTI, and I'm going to stamp 3 of them at the same time with Memento Tuxedo black ink. And now I'm going to stamp my eye with Soft Sky ink. I'm going to do all my stamping first before I start my coloring. So I stamped it first, and then I decided I wanted it a little bit darker, so I just went ahead and stamped it again, which the MISTI makes very easy. And then I've got this Hey You from the Courteous Cutie set that I got to go with all these sheep and bee images. And so I'm going to cover up the hay with some surgical tape, and then I'll ink it up with some Hero Arts black ink. I'm using Hero Arts this time because I think it stamps a little bit darker than the Memento, and so with the sentiment, since I'm not going to be coloring it, I decided to just go ahead and use the Hero Arts black. All right, so I'll stamp that above the sheep so we all know that that's EWE for you. And then this set called Stripe Greetings, hang in there. I just searched my stash for the word in. I could easily have just written it in, but I'm, a little bit of a perfectionist. So I spent a bunch of time covering everything except for the end so that I could stamp that right in between the leaf and the sheep. Now I'm going to start adding some details. I have my Copic multiliner. This is 0.3, and I wanted my eye to stand out just a little bit, and I've done it before with these layered letters. I'm just going to very carefully, and I did this slowly, I just speeded it up, but I'm just going to outline this whole thing. It really made this letter pop off the cardstock. Now I'm going to color my bee. I'm just going to very simply use the Y15 all along the outer edge and then color the rest with the Y11, just a light yellow color. Same thing with his body. And then for the wings, I'm going to take this B000. It's so light. And I'm just going to kind of draw some stripes and some dots just to make it look like kind of a transparent wing with a little bit of a blue tint to it. All right, next, notice when I took the cap off my YG17, 2 dots of green got onto my cardstock, and they were pretty bright. So to get these off, what I'm going to do is take my Zero Colorless blender, and I'm going to speed this up quite a bit, but I spent a lot of time really soaking my paper and kind of spreading it out a little bit as well, because the colorless blender is going to push the color away. And so I just wanted to make sure that I saturated it enough with the colorless blender to really push out these dots so that you couldn't see them. After working with my chisel tip for a while, I used my fine tip brush side and just kind of held it there for a little bit. And then I just let it dry first before I continued because I wanted to make sure that I didn't need to start over. And you can see that after letting it dry for a little bit, it pretty much disappeared to nothing. So moving on to my leaf, I'm taking my darkest green color. You can see I'm going over kind of one side of all of the different kind of areas that the leaf comes out. And I'm also coloring just the left side of that middle line in the leaf. Now I'm taking my middle color and I'm extending that dark color out a little bit. And then I'm also coloring the other side of these edges that I didn't color with the first color. And now I'm going to take my YG21, and this is a much lighter color, and so I'm going to go over the whole entire thing to make sure that I get a nice blend. So if you have a really light color that you're using with 2 colors that are a little darker, just going over the whole thing with the light one really helps to blend them all together. Okay, for the sheep, I'm going to take W3. I'm going to draw all these kind of like mini curves all over the whole entire thing. Then I'm going to take W1, and I'm going to color kind of a line on top of every single one that I did with the W3. And then also if there's kind of an area that's got too much white that doesn't have any color, I'll just draw a single W1 line. So I'm making sure I hit all the W3 and then adding a few W1. And now finally I'm going to take my Zero Colorless blender and I'm going to go over the whole entire thing, and this is going to mute everything, and then it's also going to blend everything together. When I was done, I decided I wanted a few more whitish areas, so I took my colorless blender, and you can see I sort of held it down in different areas. I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to speed it up a little bit now. But I'm holding down my pen so that it kind of pushes color away and I get more of a light area. And then for the top of his head, I'm going through the same thing. So the W3, then the W1, and then the all over 0. For his face, I'm going to take away the 0 and add a W5. So the face and the hands and the ears are going to be just slightly darker than the rest of him. So I'm going to take my W5 and go all the way around the edges and kind of on the left side of the other areas. And then I'll scoot in a little bit with the W3 in all the areas. And I actually colored his hands and feet, finished him off with the W3. And then blend everything else with the W1. And then I added some grass at his feet. And when I do this, I take my color and I flick upward in the middle and then off to the left on the left side, and then I flick off to the right on the right side, and then I add a few dots underneath the feet. And then this WG21, these are the greens from the leaf, and I'm just kind of going over that a little bit so I have a little variation in color. This is some polka dot paper by Lawn Fawn. I'm just kind of putting it under his feet here and marking it with a pencil so I know where to trim it. So I trimmed it with my trimmer, and then I'll put some ATG tape runner on the back and then put this on the bottom of my panel. And I purposely cut it a little longer just because it's better to be safe than sorry, and then I just trimmed it off with a scissor so it was exact. And now I have a piece of string here that I'm going to put right on the edge. Now I could have put a piece of black cardstock, but I wanted this to be so thin, so I thought string would be better. So I'm going to put some tape runner on the back to hold it. I'll put one side over the side to the back and have it stick there. And I don't want it floating over my cardstock, so I'm going to take a 2A glue pen. I'm just going to add some dots here and there across the whole entire edge. And then I'll take the string and wrap it around and adhere it to the back because I have that tape runner that I already put on the other side as well. So I'll just stick that, and then what I'm going to do is just kind of hold it down with my fingertips. This is real time, so this is how long I'm holding it, maybe like 10 or seconds, 12 seconds, and it really doesn't take long for this 2A glue pen to adhere. So now it's all nicely flat against my cardstock, and then I'll put some tape runner on the back and adhere this to a folded piece of Neenah cardstock for my card base. And that is the card for today. I really think this is so cute, and it was a great way to use my bees and sheep. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.